Buying versus renting, which is better? I think you might know the answer to this question, but let's break it down. Stay tuned. What's up everybody, Andrew here with the Lake Team in Houston, Texas. Welcome back to our channel. We have another fantastic video for you guys today. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. We try to produce the best real estate content to you guys each and every single week. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into the pros and cons of buying versus renting. So let's talk about whenever you're a renter. Whenever you're renting a house, you are actually paying a mortgage, you're just not paying your own. You're paying your landlord's mortgage. And oftentimes and not, you're paying more than what the mortgage actually is. So let's say if you were to buy that house, the mortgage would probably cost you, let's keep it conversation sake here, the mortgage would cost you about $2,000 a month, right? But maybe you're paying $2,500 a month in rent, right? So that landlord is paying, you're paying that landlord's mortgage and additional $500, right? That's just one example of many that are out there. Maybe it's $1,200 a month that you're paying, but his rent is only $800. I mean, you see where I'm getting at? You're paying more than what the actual mortgage is. So you're not paying your mortgage, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Another con when you're renting a house is you never get any of that money back, like ever get. You don't ever get it back. You can rent for 10 years. You're never gonna get that money back. You might get your deposit back if you're good enough, but you never get that money back. All that money that you put in for all those years, you're paying down someone else's mortgage and you don't ever get that back. Versus if you own the property and you paid on it for 10 years, not only do you get tax breaks off of owning a house, you also, you're taking advantage of an appreciating market, a historically appreciating asset, which is real estate, right? So you get to take advantage of that, plus all of the equity that you've built up by paying down your mortgage. So you'll get all that back, hopefully, right? Hopefully nothing went south, but you'll get all that money back after 10 years or however many years, but you're paying on it, right? So you're gonna get all that money back, which is pretty nice. So another con when it comes to buying versus renting, whenever you rent, you don't get any of the tax write-offs. You can't write off your property insurance, you can't write off your property taxes, you can't write off any maintenance, you can't write off any of that stuff. Like your landlord gets to though, but you don't. So there is tax breaks. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to buying versus renting, but some of these are pretty major ones, major components of renting versus buying. And so I think you see where I'm getting at. I think buying here is better than renting, but to each their own. So another con is you could get stuck with a bad landlord that just doesn't want to fix anything, no matter how bad it actually is, right? I had one client who, she's working on the process of purchasing a house, and she got stuck with, we found her a rental that she really liked. She got stuck with a bad landlord, and the HVAC unit just doesn't work properly, and she's paying about $700 a month just in electricity bills because the AC unit just runs constantly. And it's just a big battle between her and the landlord because the landlord doesn't want to fix it until after she moves out. Unfortunately, she's stuck. There's really nothing that she can do, but the landlord just doesn't want to fix anything. And that's a 2,000 square foot house. That's not a huge house, right? Especially for paying $700 a month in electricity. That's just insane. So you could get stuck with a bad landlord like that. It's a very serious example of what happened, and so it could happen to you, but I mean, you never know. You might get some good landlords too, but just know that there's a risk involved with getting stuck with bad landlords. Anything kind of repairs or maintenance that needs to be done, maybe they neglected over the years and they just don't want to fix anything. They don't want to put any more money into the property. So another con is that whenever you're renting a house, your landlord controls what you can and cannot do. If you want to paint a wall, you need to get permission from your landlord. If you want to start upgrading things, you need to get permission from your landlord. Why would you? I don't know, it's not yours. But whenever you own the house, if you're married like me and your wife gets on Pinterest 24/7 and wants to have a Pinterest house, then you get the perks of going to Home Depot and picking out all the great stuff for your wife, right? So it's dangerous too, I will say that. That's a big con for owning a house too, is your wife is on Pinterest 24/7. But we won't get into that stuff. But yeah, you do have that flexibility. When you own a home, you can do whatever you want with it. I mean, you can move walls around. You can change your cabinets yellow if you wanted to. I don't know, right? But you can do whatever you want. It's your property. Versus landlords or versus you renting, you got to get permission. Another big con with renting is, I want to say, you're moving more frequently, right? Maybe you just got tired of living in that house, or maybe you're tired of dealing with the landlord, you want to move to another house, right? But oftentimes I do see a lot of people moving more frequently whenever they are renters. I don't know why, it's just kind of the name of the game. Maybe the landlord wants them out because they didn't like them, or maybe the landlord just wants to sell the property now. But just know that on a moment's notice, the landlord can say like, hey, after the lease is up, I don't want to renew the lease, I want to sell it. So another crazy thing is renting does not help build your credit, but it can most certainly damage it, right? If the landlord wants to report anything, or if your apartment complex wants to report any derogatory statements or late payments or anything, they can, and it can most certainly hurt your credit report. If the landlord wants to come after you for damages, for maybe some carpet or whatever, any kind of property damage that happened and you didn't pay them, they can come after you for damages. If you don't pay them, they'll go up, maybe it could get reported to the credit bureau. There'll be a judgment against your name. Who knows, right? But I just know that renting is not going to help you with your credit scores, but it can most certainly damage it, so you need to be very cautious with that too. So in another video that we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna break down the full cost associated when it comes to renting and owning. And I'll place the link in the description somewhere, either up here as a card, or I'll place the link in the description actually. So yeah, it'll either be a link in the card or a link in the description. I'm gonna do a full video. The whole video is just gonna break down the cost of home ownership versus the cost of renting. And then you kind of make your educated decision from there. Look, I get everybody's different. There may be certain circumstances for renting a house, right? And sometimes, in most cases, it's unavoidable, and there's nothing wrong with renting a house. If you like renting a house, by all means, rent for your whole life. No one's stopping you. But we also understand too, people may be relocating to Houston and they don't really know the area too well just yet, and they don't really know where they want to live throughout in Houston. So they just want to pick an area and not be fully committed to it. And just by renting for a little while until they get a feel, they're like, okay, well, I don't want to live in this area, I want to move over there because I like this part better, right? So there's 100 different circumstances out there of why someone would rent than purchase, and it's totally okay to rent, and we get it. My wife and I, whenever we didn't just right off the bat buy a house, like we had to rent too, until we were capable of buying a house, and that was just our goal. It may not be everybody else's goal, and that's okay. But I wanted to make this video to break it down of what the pros and cons are of renting. And I think the pros for renting, honestly, is you do have that flexibility to get up and leave when you want to. You do have that flexibility to, call your landlord if they're all for it, right? Call your landlord and say, hey, my HVAC's not using. Or you don't have to front maintenance costs. It's all on your landlord. So you do have pros and cons of each. Of course, I think owning a home is obviously, in my opinion, is better, right? But my opinion is my opinion. It's not yours. But, to each their own, like I said earlier, to each their own on this kind of thing. I just felt like I wanted to make this quick video to, give you guys, a breakdown. And I am going to make a full video, like I said, a full video on the actual cost. We're going to use real life examples for that, so stay tuned. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, or if you have any suggestions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. If you have a topic that you'd like us to cover, do so as well. Reach out to me or leave it in the comments. I'll be looking for them. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below so you're the first to notified whenever we release a video, which we release each and every single week. And with that being said, I'm Andrew with the Lake Team, and I'll see you guys next week.